Changing minds one thought at a time. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Changing Minds Online Sunday night inspirational call. Today is going to be an amazing call. We have some really, really exciting news to share with everyone, don't we, Akina?
Yes, we do. Why don't you go ahead and break that news for us, Jessica?
Well, some of you may have been following our podcast, and you may know that we've been talking about this new project that we've been planning on launching. So this has been a year in the making when Akina and I first had a conversation about doing this project, and it is finally ready. So we are so proud to announce the publication of our third book, There Is Light in You. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background about where this story came from. So Akina and I, we are both Christians, and although we have never made this officially a Christian podcast, often we talk about God in the show, and God has been such a big part of my life, and I know Akina's life as well. So as someone who did not grow up in a Christian family and inside the church, I found a lot of my relationship with God was built directly through prayer and through an understanding of the Bible. And so for me, I have come to a really strong understanding of the fact that for me, God is love, and it does nothing else matters. And I look at the world from a perspective of a person who had never really been in the church until my adult life. And I saw people saying that they loved God and doing things that didn't necessarily live up to that. And I saw where people, different churches would fight over things that seemed very silly and trivial for me. And I wanted to communicate to the world what I believe from the bottom of my heart is that God is love and that God lives in us, and therefore we are love. In sonship with Him, the essence of who we are is love. Authentically, who we are is love. And if that's true and we act out of love in all things we do, then nothing else matters. And I wanted to find a way to communicate that message to the world. And around the same time, Akina and I had started Changing Minds Online as a company a little bit over a year ago, right, Akina?
That's right, Jess.
And when we started doing this, and Akina and I, we've told the story on our podcast before. We met on Facebook, and I had never met Akina in person, and we started, what started as doing something very simple. We're supposed to be doing this once or twice, just recording some interviews and putting them on our separate blogs. We really grew to love what we were doing and love each other. I love you, Akina. And, we knew that what we had could really add value to people's lives. And in order to do that, we decided to create a company because we knew that if we were going to make this really big, we would need to be bringing in revenue. And if we wanted to do this full time and just really live our mission of inspiring and empowering everyone, especially women, to create the life of their dreams by finding and living into their purpose, the only way to do that would be if we could create this as our main source of income. So we decided to become a company. And, as someone who is led by God in everything that I do, when I went to decide, and Akina and I went to decide about what we would do to create income for this business, Akina and I have always together consulted God. Every time we make a decision as companies, as co-owners and co-founders of this company, we will pray and we'll say, what do you want us to do, God? And when I was doing that in meditation and prayer myself, He communicated to me that I was supposed to create a children's book, and that children's book would be to communicate to the world that who He is, which is love, and to communicate specifically to children that God lives in them, and that therefore they are love, and that their way of honoring and serving God is simply to be love for the world. But as I began this project, I decided to make it an anthology. And I did that because I wanted it from different women's perspective, from different people's perspective. And this is essentially, Akina and I, we run this company, although we welcome all people to listen to our podcast. It's essentially really focused on women, our company. And what we wanted to do is provide mothers a tool for sharing this with their children. So we wanted to do bedtime stories. But as I continued to pray about this project, and as I continued to collaborate and speak with some of the amazing authors who you're going to hear from in just a few minutes about this project, it became clear that it wasn't really about me, and it wasn't really about growing our company. And that's when Keenan and I decided that we were going to reverse tithe the income from this book. So as a company, we tithe 10% of our income right off the bat as a company. And Keenan and I also tithe our own incomes, but we tithe 10% as a company. So every project we do, no matter what it is, if you look at any of our other books, we always pick a different organization and we donate 10% of profits to that organization. But this time we wanted to do more, and we decided to donate 90% of profits, from the book to a ministry. And as we began to search for different projects and different ministries, we thought about creating our own organization. And in fact, when we approached women initially to be part of this book, we communicated that we wanted to start our own 501c3. And what I really found was that we would be spending so much money just to form a foundation that less money would go to the people we really wanted to care about. And after reading this amazing book called Kisses from Katie that just truly touched me in such a very, very profound way, we decided to support the Amazima ministry. So this ministry, it is just working with the people of Uganda to really create self-sustaining communities, to teach them about God, and to create schools for children, and provide women especially a way to provide for their families by creating small businesses. And we just said this is in such alignment of really what we are doing and what we stand for as a company and as people in this world and what we're creating. We decided to donate 90% of the profits to them. And I mean, this is it's an amazing organization. If you haven't read their book, it's called Kisses from Katie. It's on Audible. I love to listen to audiobooks myself. And, it's just a really powerful way to just be able to gain information, inspiration, and knowledge while really just doing anything. And I listen to books while I'm running. Even when I'm showering, I have a waterproof Bluetooth speaker I bring into my shower, and I'll listen to books even in the morning. And this is just a phenomenal book. I mean, it just highlights really the disparity in the resources throughout the world and how fortunate and blessed we are. And I promise you, if you read this book, you're going to want to take action and do something about it. I mean, just like I did. But, with that said, that has brought us to our product launch today. And that's the backstory behind our book. The book we're launching, it's called There Is Light in You. And like I said, it's a collection of bedtime stories aimed to really teach children that God is love and God lives in them, and therefore they are love. And really this just giving them stories and examples and lessons on how to be that love for the world. So, Akina, I'm going to ask you, and just so you guys know, we have a special treat for you. There are 9 different authors in this book. We have 3 of the amazing authors who are generous enough to come on the call tonight and really just share their perspective of who God is with you and really what motivated them to be part of this book. So we're going to do that in just a second. Before I get started, Akina, what has been your journey in really just coming to understand the idea that God is love? And, can you give us some background about that? Because I know this is an important topic to you as well.
Yes. If many people may not know on this call, I am a PK, preacher's kid, and so I have always grown up into that fashion. No matter what was going on around me, I always knew that God was love, God was the higher power, God was, that's where you went for your soul salvation. And no matter what I was going through, that was the first thing that I was taught, go and pray and, find out what he has to say for you and what path he wants you to go on. And many children today may not have that. And I think that this book is really, really going to help many children really feel that security and in the Lord. Like I said, I've worked in education for a while, and I've seen different routes and different ways of growth. And I think that this is going to really help a lot of our children.
Awesome, Akina. Well, thank you so much. I want to share with you guys some of the amazing women who are just with us tonight that we're part of the book and are going to be part of our call. So the first person I'm going to welcome onto the call tonight is author Beverly Jones. This person has been such a amazing just part of our show. I mean, she actually was nice enough when Akina and I first started our company. We had no money to invest. She was nice enough to edit our first book at no cost to us, and she's been a guest on our show and amazing friend. Beverly, welcome to the call.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be part of this wonderful event. I think this is an awesome way to teach children about God.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. It's an honor, truly an honor to have you as part of this, and it's just such a privilege to collaborate with you all the time. Beverly, I wanted to just ask you, who is God to you? In your own words, who is God?
Wow. Well, I come from a Christian background. I was in church every Sunday, and I was in Bible study every Wednesday, and we prayed every day and often in my house. God to me is everything, and I knew this from way back when I was 5 or 6 years old, when I was old enough to actually be able to handle the Bible respectfully, as my mother used to say. The Bible is a living thing, and you can't mishandle it, so I had to be taught how to handle the Bible. But I've always known that God was a part of my life, and I was always taught by my mother that God resides within me. Now, when you're little and you kind of trying to wrap your hands around that, my mother interpreted it to me, when you do something good, God sees it. And when you do something bad, God sees it. That was enough to keep me on the straight arrow because I did not want to disappoint God. But today's children, with the separation of church that most schools don't allow prayer in the school, I'm afraid that they spend the majority of their time in the school environment. They're not necessarily welcomed when they say, I believe in God. We're supposed to be politically correct, and we're not supposed to, I guess, offend those people who don't believe in God. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. As a matter of fact, it never did for me, and I don't think it ever will. This book will give children a way of understanding that God is part of their everyday life. And so I'm hoping that they will also understand that God is everything to them and that everything they have, they owe to God.
Wow, well, that's just amazing, and, we couldn't agree with you more. What advice could you give to mothers, regarding this book? I mean, what would your recommendation for mothers be on how to really to get this book and to really use it to teach their children?
Well, first of all, bedtime stories is a perfect time for parents to sit down and bond with their children. A lot of them are working, and a lot of them don't have the time during the day to talk to their children. This book will open up a lot of conversations. By all means, they should first get the book, and then they should set aside some time at night to sit down and read the stories in the book. I'm certain that some of the children will have their favorites, and it's perfectly okay to read the stories over and over again. After all, that's what we did as children. But it's a wonderful opportunity to open up the communication, to start to explain to your child the importance of God and how important they play, what the part is that they play in God's whole manuscript of the human life and the human race. They have to feel connected to this amazing, wonderful, loving being in order to understand fully that he is part of them. It'll help your children to see that in spite of all they see in the world, there is God in them, there is love in them, and that they can do anything as long as they make sure they stay connected to the Heavenly Father.
Well, that's just so powerful. Thank you so much, Beverly, for sharing with us, and again, for just being part of this book. We love you at Changing Minds Online, and we're just so grateful for you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, it is amazing, another privilege to introduce another one of our previous guests on the call. This person is an amazing friend to me. We did transformation work together, so we've seen each other at our best and our worst on our journey. And again, this is a person I'm just so grateful to have on the show. Truly, truly a woman of God and someone who just carries love in her heart. Tracy Isabizzo, it's amazing to just introduce you on the call and to really welcome you back to Changing Minds Online.
Thank you so much, Jess, and thank you, Akina. It's a privilege and a deep pleasure of mine to be back on your show. I love what you guys are doing, and I know it's going to go places. It's already gone places, but it's going to go further than we can all imagine. So I really do appreciate, you guys inviting me back on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's always our pleasure. So Tracy, I want to ask you really the same question, regarding God being love. Can you just talk about your perspective of that and really just why you got involved with this book and got so excited about sharing with the world the idea that God is love?
Simply put, God is love. In my opinion, the word love is the biggest umbrella that everything else falls under. When you have love in your heart, there's no room for hatred. There's no room for depression. There's no room for anxiety. When there's love inside of you, there's so much that you can do in life. And I believe that God's love for us is unchangeable. He's a God that when he says something, he doesn't take it back. And that means the world to me. Like Dev, I'm also a Christian girl. I grew up in a church, and my parents are Christians, family's Christian. So, we've always grown up to know that God loves us and we love him. And so it's always been embedded in us to have that love in our heart. So, with this book, I think it's absolutely important to start the children from when they're young to start believing that God is love. Because once they start growing and learning that love conquers all, then all of these issues, in my opinion, that happen in life as far as like bullying and hatred and, that to me, it wouldn't exist, because if we all love each other, there's no room, to even have that kind of animosity to our fellow brothers or our fellow sisters. So starting them from a young age is absolutely crucial and is very important. So, I was so excited that, you guys invited me to contribute to writing the story, because I think it's so important. Kids are the next generation in this world. So, it's great to have to start somewhere. If it doesn't end with us, because there's always someone after us, the next generation and next generation. So, starting them from a young age is absolutely crucial and is very vital to their growing up and what's going to happen in this world after we're gone. So I'm absolutely excited about the book, and I think it's going to do a great thing, especially for the people in Uganda. I also had the privilege of reading a little bit of Katie's story, and it's absolutely inspirational. I was telling you, Jessica, this is a woman that's coming from a huge place of love because she knows God is love, and God is love in her. So she's sharing that love with others. So I think as long as we start to embed that in people's hearts, then, a lot of these issues that we're seeing now in this world is, would pretty much be non-existent.
Yeah, absolutely, Tracy. I couldn't more. It's like really just for me, love, it really comes from operating from a place of abundance. The idea that the more love is like the only thing, right? That the more we give it, the more we receive it. And it's just amazing. So it's just really creating this idea of abundance. And, you're right, Tracy, so many of the problems with our world that we look around and we want to talk about, blame and politics and presidential debates, especially right in today's, political culture in the U.S., you're going to see more and more people pointing fingers and talking about everything that's wrong. And the truth is that nothing really needs to be wrong, because we could really just look at it from the perspective of that we are love. And when we do, and everyone operated from the context of love, so many issues, like you said, would really just go away and just disappear. And it's amazing that we have the privilege, and it's such an honor and a privilege to be able to participate in creating more love and abundance in the world, especially in, like you said, in Uganda, an area where that abundance is really lacking in many ways right now, that we can bring a little bit more of it there. I mean, it's just truly an honor and a privilege. It's phenomenal when I really think about the fact that Akeem and I started this company just about a year ago, and that, today, our third project, we are blessed enough to be able to donate 90% of profits and just help that way. It's just so amazing, and I'm so grateful for everything that he's done, that God's done for us, and really just for all of the women, the guests on our call, the listeners, and the men anyone who's just listened to our call or purchased our books or is going to go out and share this book with their friends, their family, buy it for their kids, their grandkids, their cousins, their nieces, their nephews, and share it in a church. I'm so grateful for everyone who just is really allowing us to make a difference. So, we are always so grateful for everyone. And every one of these calls and podcasts, we always just, have to thank our audience. I mean, it's just amazing. Without you guys, we couldn't be doing any of this. So thank you so much. And, on that note, we're going to, yes, and thank you, Tracy. On that note, we're going to welcome the last person on our call tonight, not the last of the authors. We have 6 additional authors who we did not get the privilege of meeting, but we were able to meet these 3 amazing women. And this person, when I spoke to this person and said, hey, I want to write a book about God, to teach the idea that God is love, and it's going to benefit a ministry. This person was such a fast and definite yes. And I really admire her, because to be published and acknowledged and is outside of her comfort zone, and she really loved God enough and believed in the mission and ministry enough of this book and our company, and that she was willing to step outside of her comfort zone and say yes and be part of it. So this person is an amazing friend of mine. She and I are, we both own our own businesses and different network marketing businesses in the same company. So I have the privilege of really being able to collaborate with her on a regular basis, and it's always a privilege. Janice Winbush, it's just an honor to introduce you on the show tonight, and welcome for your first time on Changing Minds Online. Hopefully not the last, because, we just love collaborating with you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jessica. It's been a blessing to know you and to meet you, and it just shows you how God has our steps ordered. Because when I first met you, I didn't even know you were a believer until we, really got into talking and got into knowing each other. So I just want to thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. And very, very
absolutely
happy with that. Mm-hmm.
It's really our privilege to be able to really collaborate with you. And, and I'm just going to say this for the authors who couldn't be on here and for you guys. Keen and I prayerfully and handfully selected that we wanted to be part of this book. So, we are just so grateful that you said yes to us. We really were thankful, and we really wanted you guys to be part of this. So thank you so much. Janice, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked everybody else, because everyone has this amazing and unique perspective, about who God is and the idea that God is love. And just, sometimes hearing it from one more person another way, something, you're going to say, I know that, there's this call is going to be listened to thousands of times from all over the world. And I just know that something you say is going to resonate with someone and touch someone in a way that they haven't been touched yet on this call. So can you talk a little bit, what does it mean to you that God is love?
Well, God proved his love to us by sending his son to show us how to live, and he died for us. And through that act of love, he paid the price for all of us and all of our sins. And when he left us with his light, the light of his Holy Spirit. That's why I think it's so profound that you entitled the book, The Light Within, because you're letting children know that there's a light that lives within them, no matter where they are. No matter whether they're in Uganda or whether they're in an inner city or whether they, live in some affluent area. because they're going to be faced with challenges wherever they go. And as the world that we live in today is changing, and they're going to meet with different people, I think bullying was mentioned. All different types of things are going to be they're going to meet up with. But they know that they have a light that lives within them. And who better than to present them with that through these bedtime stories than their own parents? So they said, train up the child the way they should go, and they won't go too far from that. So, and it's so funny that, I know that, Jessica, you are testimony to that. Coming up, you said you came up in a home where they were not believers. But I came up in something similar, but I did go to a Christian school. I did go to Catholic school through elementary through high school. And I continued on with that until I was 40 years old. And I said I was wandering around 40 years in the wilderness. And on my 41st birthday, 3 days after that, I got saved. And that's when I got into the Bible. And I really got the application of it. And that's when I met the Holy Spirit. So what you're doing is absolutely, positively God ordained. And I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Well, thank you so much, Janice. What a beautiful, amazing story. And I'm just so grateful again. I can't reiterate enough how grateful I am for everyone who participated in this book. I mean, we could never have done this without you guys. I love you, and I just thank God for you. And, I also want to, again, just thank everyone who's listening to this, either live or in podcast mode. I mean, you guys are amazing. And, we're going to share with you now as we wrap up our call how you can help us out. And, like I said, Akeem and I were donating 90% of the profits from this book to the Amazima ministry in Uganda. We also want to be able to send the children of Uganda in the schools a copy of these books so they can have them. We want to be able to donate at least one book to every classroom that this ministry is building in Uganda. So to do that, we really need your support. If you'd like to get involved, with this project, there's really a few ways that you can help us. The first and most obvious way is to go onto Amazon and to purchase the book. The book is called There Is Light in You. And, you can, if you have a hard time finding it, we'll have it on our website. It'll be on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Changing Minds Online. It's going to be all over our Twitter, Instagram, everything, Pinterest, everywhere you'll find it right on our Facebook page. It'll be pinned to the top. So, the first way is really to support us by really, like I said, purchasing the book and helping us not only to support the ministry with the money that we're going to donate from the purchases, but also to share the message, because really this is what we did this for, is to really share the message that we are loved, that children are loved, God is love. I truly believe from the absolute bottom of my heart that we are loved. Physically, our DNA, our energies, our cells are made up of the love, vibrations of love. I mean, I believe in energy. I believe in vibrational energy, and we just are the vibration of love. That's who we are, the very core and the essence of our being, because God lives in us. And, I want to share that. If you would like to donate books to the classrooms of the children of Uganda, please reach out to us, even if it's just one book. I mean, that's just amazing. Just think of how many amazing children we blessed. And they don't have a lot of books like in the classrooms like we do here in the U.S. And, even some U.S. schools don't have, I spent some time working in New York City public schools, and I know for firsthand there's books lacking there, but I can't even imagine, how they're trying to teach in countries where there's not really a supply of books available. So if you would like to participate, like I said, even if it's one book, please email us and we'll be able to help you to do that. And that's contact us at changingmindsonline.com. Please, if you want to share this book with your friends and your family, we are allowing, this is especially if you're a leader in your church, if you belong to a church, if you want to either invite us to come to your church and to bring some books and share the message of our book and what we're doing, and or if you're comfortable doing that yourself, we can work it out so we can send you books. Or if you want to make a donation to the Amazima ministry, you can certainly do that. It's amazima.org. amazima.org, amazima.org, and really just help us out that way as well. And of course, the final way is just to share the book on your social media. Maybe you want to really support us and you're not financially able to do so. And I respect that as well. I mean, if you want to support us, it doesn't have to be through purchasing something. You can share the book on your social media. Please share the replay of this call. If you have friends or family you think would be blessed by this call, you're going to be able to find it on our website, changingmindsonline.com. On Blog Talk Radio, just look for us, Changing Minds Online. On iTunes, we're on Changing Minds Online. On Stitcher, Changing Minds Online. It's really all over. We also are on YouTube. So, if you're not savvy on social media and don't know how to, subscribe to podcasts, you can just search for us on YouTube, and you can find a replay of this call and all of our other calls as well. So this is actually, I believe, our 128th show, right, Akina?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Please listen to our replays because we do these calls for you. Like I said, this is the first call that is, has a 100% Christian message. So, but listen to our other calls. We do a lot of training on branding online, on social media, on small business, on entrepreneurship, and just a lot of inspirational, motivational calls. So please just find us and check us out, and we'd love to connect with you on Facebook.